Good evening, guys. Hope everybody's having a good evening this evening. Tonight's subject is order from chaos. Snake oil, I say. We're going to talk tonight about how the chaos creators are the solution profiters. First, they break it, then they bill you to fix it. Because every crisis is a business plan in disguise. They sell you the fire, then they sell you the water to put it out. Just think about it. I mean, it's the way it all works. First, they burned the Reichstag and crowned themselves king. Then they conjured a phantom battle in the Gulf of Tonkin to drag us into a war. Then they used the smoke of 9/11 to blindfold a nation and slip the Patriot Act in our pockets. They crashed the economy in '08, bailed out their buddies, and left the rest of us in the wreckage. They pumped our streets full of drugs. They declared war on the people they poisoned after they prescribed said drugs. And when COVID came, they locked us down, silenced the dissidents, and made a killing while telling us it was for our safety. Over and over, century after century, the pattern has never changed because chaos was never the problem. It's always been the plan. And yes, I know what I just said out loud. I'm going to continue to say it. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm going to say it out loud. They might take me down. They might cut me off. I'm going to continue to say it. This is not the way we're meant to live. They create the problem and then sell us this horrible solution that they then get to profit off diagnosing and treating our symptoms that they created. Doesn't matter what it is. It's the way it works. It always has, it always will. So not saying something makes the problem worse. Sticking your head in the sand makes the problem worse. Sorry, I don't know why that made me so emotional. I spent a lot of time this weekend thinking about the ones out there not saying something. A lot of us being filtered for saying it. Willie and I were having a conversation this weekend about chaos. Chaos and order are on the opposing sides of the scale. The profiteer is the middleman. They're the ones always tipping the scales. When you were a child, the only chaos you knew about in the world was what went on within the walls of your home, or maybe your best friend's home, or your cousins, or your uncles. Your level of chaos was directly related to your direct interaction with other people. As you get older, you go to school, you make friends, you get a little bit of the chaos or turmoil or whatever you want to call it going on in their world bleeds into yours as your circle gets a little bit bigger. You get older, you date, you got a boyfriend who becomes a fiance or a husband, and then you got in laws. Their chaos is in your chaos. Coworkers, you hear a little bit of their chaos in your chaos. And then all of a sudden comes along the internet. You get to see everybody else's chaos. You get to know about all chaos at all times that they can put on us. Doom scrolling. The more chaos you're induced to, the more desperately you will look for a solution. So why not feed you the chaos? So you're so eagerly looking for the solution, you'll pay anything for it. That's what it all boils down to. And to find out how to squeeze out every dollar and every ounce they can from us in the process. There's a lot more to it. We all know it. And we're always trying to figure out what they're going to do next. We spend a lot of time down this rabbit hole and try to see them coming, which is oddly turned into seem like life is a comic book sometimes, um, depending on what you're thinking of. But everything that comes about seems to come from that until somebody stops the chaos. We've looked at lots of those societies that, they don't speak about. Order from chaos is part of their mantra. And we've all seen when Daniel talks about symbols and how everything means something. They're putting it right in front of our faces. Um, Part of this came last night is I was sitting there thinking about TikTok, the first of the year when they were going to ban TikTok. How many out there have ever been on World Talk? I thought about this. I haven't been down the rabbit hole today, but I wanted to. I haven't even been on TikTok today. I don't have a TikTok account at the moment. Banned for opening a big old mouth. But anyway, World Talk. It's supposed to be where we can see other people in other countries and how they live. Like we truly don't know how other people live in other countries unless you've got some kind of connection there or you specifically go look. Sadly, in today's time, when you look at something, you don't know if it's real or manipulated or completely artificial. Um, I know a lot of times on Daniel's show, we have a few international folks there, and we got one on Daniel's show, Fax. Fax and I tried to get together email or communication or some way so we could have a real conversation from somebody who was like minded and we felt was truthful. What's going on where you're at? Because we don't always know that. We don't always see that. A lot of what we believe is real is what we've seen on TV. Or if you think about Australia, do you think about Crocodile Dundee? Is that how you see Australia? How much have you ever went and looked at it? Have you researched it? How does their government work? How do their people feel about their government and how their lives are and, their healthcare cost and things of that nature in all different countries? I know when I was growing up, we didn't have, we're talking about pre-Google folks. When I was younger kid, young teenager, what I remember about third world countries were these poor, starving looking little children who are in horrible shape, living in dirt, and they wanted you to send them X amount of dollars every month, and this kid would write you a letter to get people to donate to the cause. I don't know that to be true. I mean, I've seen things since then. I'm talking about as a child. I didn't know it was true, but that was my conception of what a third world country was. So, part of tonight's show is I'm asking everybody to go investigate. Go look at other countries, their lifestyle, how they live. What do they consider middle income? What do they consider upper middle income? How do the less fortunate in their society live? How is their health care? What do they eat and how healthy are they? What kind of things, medicine wise, do they allow in their country and things they don't allow in their country? There are some countries that did not allow the sticky sticky to go on. They've not allowed the sticker in their country, period. And amazingly, they don't have autism. Imagine that. A country that does not allow their children to be poked does not have autism. Hmm. It's a unique concept, isn't it? There's hey everybody. I see you out there. Sorry, I kind of got off on a rant for a minute. Didn't mean to get emotional in the beginning. I see Tracy and Mike and Dave and Daniel was here and Laura. Um, Thank you all for coming tonight. I don't know. I had a lot of time. Mike and Super Dave straight in the door, first ones, weren't you? Thank you guys. Um, I had a lot of time to think this weekend, and so I try. I always, I don't know. Here a while back, I got this concept of let's look at things from 50,000 feet. There's a lot of people on this rock that we live on. Not all of us live the same, and we have a big disconnect of what we know about them and their society and how they live on a day-to-day basis versus what you've seen on the evening news or what the algorithm is pushing to you. Um, I don't know. I know that Fax is over in the UK, and we have very rarely been able to, like, communicate a lot in the past few months. I don't know if anybody else has family that lives internationally. And I know a lot of times you kind of all talk about, even if you do, when you talk to that person, thank you, Daniel. Um, when you talk to that person, it's more about what happened in your day, not, hey, how does your mental income? How many homeless do you have? How do things work? Because when we think about places other than where we are in America, unless you've been there, you don't know. And a lot of people say Americans are untraveled. Go look at the size of some of these countries. I mean, you can go from one country to the other in a day's drive. You can visit multiple in a day's drive when you're across the pond. I mean, you could spend the rest of your life traveling and still never see all of America. We're on a big old chunk of land, border wise, government wise, people wise. Um, what are their lives like? How many hours a week do they work? How hard is it to take a day off without feeling like you're doing your company wrong? Um, I know part of the mentality that I was in my 20s and 30s when I worked, we got made to feel dang near guilty to take our paid time off. It was like such a burden on the company for you to schedule time off. It was like you owed 40 hours a week to that company. Not all companies, but a lot that I worked for, especially the ones that were more corporate. Um, I don't know. They break a lot of things and then tell us the way to fix it. Never truly fixing it. They just sell you enough hot glue to keep it together for a minute or two. Then when it breaks again, oh, we got a new glue. It works so much better. And next time it's, oh, we got a forever glue. And then next time, oh, we got a new part for you. But it's going to cost you, you know, your soul to fix it. Um, All right, let's go back to chat. I see everybody saying hello. Does anybody out there have international family? Ask the deeper questions. You ain't got to get in their business. I mean, but just ask them, how do you live? I do a lot of research. I spend a lot of time doing research and thinking and having these thoughts of the greater plan and trees or excuse me mountains or tree stumps. That's a big theory of thought that we've been down, right on down to the geological side of it. But when you back off at 50,000 feet, how do other people live in other countries? All we know is what they've told us. Super Dave's show today, we were talking about. He was talking about the DC takeover with the National Guard coming in. I mean, I don't know. There's a. I've been since the show today that Dave had, I went and was looking at this. I ran across this thing called Executive Order 14253, and it's signed to supposedly revisionist approach. He's digging into this. Donald J. is digging into the Smithsonian Institute And this executive order claims to counter a supposedly revisionist approach to American history to restore the true uplifting version. I don't know. It's just kind of strange. I thought I'd dig into it because I was over there looking at how he had enacted all of this and what it meant. From what I gather, it can only last 30 days before they have to make it, can't go on indefinitely. But there's a reason. There's always a reason. The more chaos they create for you, the more your frequency is off, the less you can pay attention to what's really going on. It's like a magician. You got to watch the right hand because, if you're looking at the left hand, if he's showing you a cute birdie in the left hand, there's something going on with his right hand because magicians always use both hands and they make really cool hand gestures when they do it. I mean, you just got to watch. If you know, you know. Um, you got to pay attention. Pay attention to what you're watching. Um, when they're creating chaos, it's just a business plan. I mean, they've got make you sick. They gotta fix, not a cure. They gotta fix. If they crash the economy, they've got to fix. They've got a loan, or somebody's getting a handout, and the taxpayer ends up paying for it. There's always a reason. Actions and reactions. People who are playing chess are usually 5 moves ahead. So you got to be playing chess, not checkers, and that's what we try to do all week long is play chess. There are people out there who are not even going to start looking at it from a chess or checkers or magicians or tricks being pulled, and you know there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces. America is a very big sized country with a lot of people with a lot of different beliefs. We're all still human. So you got to love one another. And the more chaos they can introduce and push in your face to an algorithm, the less you love your fellow man. You're not going to go in there and talk to your neighbor anymore because, for all you know, she's Karen. And she could be. But 20 years ago, that wasn't an issue. You already knew your neighbor. You knew your neighbor's mom, your neighbor's kids. Because if you were running to the grocery store, you called down to the neighbor and said, "Hey, I'm running to the grocery store. The kids are out riding their bikes. Keep an ear out for them." No problem. I don't trust my grandkids to be outside playing anymore in our neighborhood. I don't know my neighbor. I've probably got to go on 4 government websites to figure out if I should know my neighbor. We live in a world of extreme information pushed in our face. And that extreme quantity of information and the chaos you're seeing, manufactured or real, puts you in a particular way in that fight or flight mode. When you're in fight or flight mode, you're not steady on your feet and you're not paying attention to what's going on. So you got to learn to turn out the noise a little bit. That's the chaos. And the more of the chaos there is, the more noise there is in your face about everything. So kindness is the key. Yes, it is, Laura. We have to stop seeing each other as opponents in this world. Them dividing us by race, religion, sex, age, generation, anything, any division that they can cause is for a reason. Because the less of us that can unite, the stronger they are, the weaker we are. So we have to learn to unite. And the group that we fall into, we consider that we are awake. We see what's going on. there are not a lot of awake people. There are not a lot of people awakening. Because there's some people you can't have a conversation with. Daniel said, "Who's paid the highest in this world? Actors, liars, magicians, and deceivers." Yeah. Pro athletes, actors. Um, yeah. The ones who put on a good show, they get paid the most. You don't want to go to if you're paying $100 for a concert ticket, you don't want to go see the sorriest band in the land. You want to pick the best one out of that variety. Even if they're all singing the same songs and you know all of them, there's a particular one that you feel is best. Well, that's the one who's, going to get all the viewers. Um, the one's getting paid the most. Let's see. We literally didn't start locking our doors in our neighborhood. Me either. I don't think I remember worrying about whether our doors were locked until the probably somewhere in the 90s. I know in the 80s it wasn't a big thing. You weren't worried about somebody coming and stealing your car out your yard or taking your lawnmower. Back then people worked for a living. It didn't matter what they had to do, they worked. And I don't know about I mean, of course I was a child, I was not an adult of the 80s, but I don't remember knowing about that many people with addiction issues in the 90s. They may have been there, and like I said, we had less information. Now it's more in your face. You know more about your cousins, sisters, brothers, friends, Mary Joe's life because you saw it on Facebook. I get that. A lot of people know things. Back then, in years past, and it becomes more distant in the past, you knew things about people in the community or the church. And the older you go and the less technology there was, the less outward communication. You were more focused on your own internal issues, dilemmas, and chaos. You didn't have to worry about that of the world. Let's see. Yeah, divide and conquer. That's all they're trying to do is divide and conquer because the more of us they have divided, whether it be how you think, how you feel, who you vote for, where you went to school at, everything is a division. They even pit high school versus high school. Why? If we work as a collective, if we work together, imagine where we could be as beings, where we could be as humans, how evolved we could be holistically if we all just work together and stop fighting about how to do it or who's going to make more money off of it. I guess when you get so rich, so wealthy that nothing is from within your reach, you get bored and you think you got to start playing God. Fear is the greatest deceiver. It is. That's what they want. They want you in a constant state of fear. The highest frequency you can vibrate at is authenticity, that you have nothing to hide, nothing to lie about. That is your best you. There's no fear in that. If you don't care how people, and I'm not saying I don't care about how people feel about me. I care greatly how people feel or receive me because I don't want to hurt anyone else. But if you don't fear judgment from people, it's different. I just don't anymore. You don't like me? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I wronged you. I'm sorry if I stepped on your toe and didn't know it. Whatever it is, I'm sorry. Go on about your way. I'm going to go live my life. I'm going to go do me. I don't have to be upset with you about it. We just, and some people ain't made to be around other people. I'm not a big outward people person in crowds anymore. I feel that there are so many people out there that are asleep, and a lot of those people that are asleep are self motivated for profit. All they worry about is themselves. What am I getting out of this? If the only thing in life you worrying about is what you getting out of it, you're not living it right. You just ain't. You ain't living it right. You got to care about other people. You got to care about how their life comes out because their life affects your life. My life affects my children's life. My children's life affect my grandchildren's life. I don't want any of those lives to not vibrate at a frequency of authentic. Be real. Be you. Don't worry about what nobody thinks about it. They don't like your hair. Oh, well, it ain't for you. As long as you hold yourself to a moral standard you're proud of, go do it. You do you. You got to be, yes, Daniel, man in the mirror. You have to be okay with the person that you see in the mirror. Were you honest? Were you trustworthy? Were you not self serving in your motivations? Will you do for fellow man? Whether it be your neighbor, your uncle, your spouse, your children, can you do for other people without it being self motivated? A lot of this crap that you see on TikTok and Facebook, it's all about that dopamine feed that only, you're getting every 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It's not good. Not good things for your brain. And the more they got you turned into two Sasquatches telling dirty jokes, the less you're paying attention to what the left hand's doing. Because the whole time you're over there giggling at Sasquatch, they're making their next move to make you poor, hungry, and subservient. Okay, guys, I guess that's about it for tonight. I just wanted to have a conversation about the chaos out of order. I beg you to go look into who profits the most from the chaos. We've all talked about the war machine and what it stirs up and why certain parties want it and some don't. Why we got to be at war? Why we got to worry about why can't we all just be friends? I mean, some countries just got some stuff, we got some stuff. Why can't we all just trade and be friends? Why can't we just be neighbors without every particular person's agenda to be self-serving? Yeah, be proud of yourself and go from there. All right, folks. It was a good show. I'll see you Wednesday. Have a good night.